Right.
Hi, good morning, good early morning, Mr. Nolan. How are you?
Morning, Tabish. How are you?
I'm fine. It's been a very long time chasing you for this sitting, and finally I caught you.
Yeah, it actually has been. I wonder why. You know,
You wonder why, and nobody
Yeah.
knows the secret to what happened.
probably your focus of your cameras were out or something. I don't know.
Yes. Guys, we are back with the speak, and we have been hoping to sit with Mr. Nolan for a very long time. We are here. Mr. Nolan is here before the winter break, and as usual, we'll be exploring the timeline of his life, biography, where was he born, where did he grow up, and all these things. Okay, first we start with the names always. So, is that your full name, or do you have any other parts left over?
My full name is Nolan David van Vuren.
Van Vuren.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's almost like one of the students back that Kenny's teaching.
Okay.
Yemen, Janse van Vuren. But he's got
But your
Janse.
name has got VV. What is that VV?
Well, it's the
The
spelling of it here.
Oh,
There's
really?
no other way to
Say
start
Van Vuren.
it. That's right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty different from the culture I've been brought up in. It's more Afrikaner, meaning it's more Dutch.
Okay.
Whereas the rest of my family all have the English type of
Names.
last name or
Last
surname.
names.
Yeah, like Davids, Owens, that sort of thing. That's it.
Okay. And you've been in Oman for about
About 12.
2 years.
No.
I think you should raise your voice a little for the
Really?
mic purpose. Yeah, a little.
Okay. I think it's been 12 months, 14 months now, 1 year and 2 months here.
Good. Okay, where were you born? Like, were you born in South Africa?
Yeah, I was actually born in a place called Cape Town, which I'm currently living in, which is a province, one of the 9 provinces in South Africa.
Cape Town is a province because we heard, like, I have very basic knowledge of South Africa. So we heard that this is one of the capitals, 3 capitals. What is the mystery of these 3 capitals?
It's not capitals as a capital, you'd refer to as the country's capital. It's more because Parliament sits there, so we're known as the executive capital. And then the actually legislative capital where laws are made. And then about 2-hour flight from us, you'd have the judicial capitals and the executive capital. Yeah. So we're not really a capital as, Washington is to America.
Like that,
Yeah.
Okay. So you were born in Cape Town and in the main city or suburb or...
Yeah, I believe I was born in a hospital.
Oh, really? Oh,
Anyway.
that's fun fact.
Yeah, within the city center. Right, you get Cape Town. Cape Town is the city center. And then and as you will leave the city center, which is Cape Town, the CBD area, you move to the suburbs. So I was born inside Cape Town, in the city center itself. Yeah.
And where were you brought after the hospital, from the hospital?
Then I would go, to a place called Lansdowne, which I am living in at the moment. Been there for quite a number of years.
Okay.
So that is where.
Do you remember going to your school first time ever?
Which school?
Any school? Any school ever in your
Yes,
life?
actually. But then I was living with, outside where I'm actually living in a different area.
Okay.
So yes, I actually distinctly remember.
So your mom dropped you, or the bus came, or you walked?
I was living with an aunt of mine. They actually dropped us because my cousin was the same age, and we started school together. So yeah, that is why I'm referring to as us.
Do you still remember what happened on the first day? Were you crying as normally children cry?
I can't remember that.
Yeah.
You know, I only have these pictures that I normally encounter when new kids are coming to school. So
Yeah.
so it would be, you know, a lie if I would say.
How long did you stay in that school? Of course, on that day for the one day.
Yeah, you know, then it was known as what is known now as grade 1. We called it sub A.
Okay.
So our sub A was grade 1, sub B was grade 2.
Okay.
And then we would go into standards, and then it became standards.
The standard 1, 2, 3.
That's
like
right.
That. Okay.
That's correct.
And how far do they go? Until 12?
They go until 10,
Until 10.
which is equivalent to grade 12.
12.
That's
okay.
right.
And what do you do? What do students do after 10?
Well, we would normally, the priority, of course, is to go to university or some sort of college. But back in the days, you know, we only went as far as grade 10. Which was standard 8 then, and that was enough for us to actually go into a 2-year teachers college if you were going into teaching.
Okay.
So you were allowed to pass standard 8, grade 10, do 2 years at college, and then you would become
qualified teacher.
Qualified teacher. That's
okay,
right.
Stay back in your grade sub A, sub B, sub C.
Yeah.
Anything you used to remember about the school, about teaching, about your friends, anything? Do you remember any of your friends at that time?
I do actually. Only reason is because I then met them at high school.
They were the same.
Yeah. So the boys that I met, and they were twins, by the way. You know.
Okay.
Shane and Sean, those were their names. I then met them back in high school when I attended this high school. So we matriculated together. And those are the guys that I actually remember.
Okay.
From
the sub A.
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Very beginning.
Yeah.
Very beginning.
You know, because their family and our family were pretty close.
Yeah. How about the teachers?
You know, I don't. I remember the one teacher that traveled with us because my dad was also a teacher. Okay. And I attended the same school as as my dad, who was teaching at the school. Okay. And then this teacher was my homeroom teacher, so she was traveling with us, and I used to get a lot of hiding from her.
Why is that?
I don't know. Really, I don't know. And the worst part was, it was a double whammy. What do I mean? She would get into the car and she would tell my dad that I just, you know.
What you did in the classroom.
That's right. And then I would be punished at home as well for the same thing.
For the same thing.
And I thought that was so unfair because I was already punished.
Already punished for
now, again, you know, so.
Oh my God.
That was the most miserable time.
How long it lasted?
That lasted about a few months.
Okay.
I would imagine 6, and then I transferred.
You transferred the class or the school?
A different school.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And no other teacher was riding the same car anymore?
It was just this lady, and I still remember her name, Mrs. Gonzalez.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
She was the senior elderly lady, biggish lady.
Okay.
And I was this little grade 2. Oh, it was terrible.
Okay. Any game, any stage activity, any other activity you participated? We are still in the sub ABT.
Not really activity, but I do recall me being the first monitor of the class.
Oh, wow.
And that was an achievement, you know.
Wow.
To be like the first monitor, I don't know if you've experienced something like that, you know, or the first prefect of your class. So
I've been the head prefect of the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was this now high school?
It was a high school, grade 10 until 10.
It's now senior. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I know that. And my son is deputy head nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
In the school of
Same
about
position I held.
700 students. like that.
Right. Okay.
Like that. Anyway, so your sub was quite eventful. You became a monitor. You had a teacher. You switched the school. Anything else?
I think that's what I recall here.
And how many schools were there in your subs? Like, you went to one school, then you switched the school, right?
Wow, Tabish, I attended a lot, only because I wasn't raised by my parents. I was living with an aunt, and then I would move from this aunt to that aunt, that sort of thing. So it was a bit of a nightmare. If I had changed or been in school, different schools, it would probably total up to about 10 different schools in my school career.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
10 are too many.
With the senior part, it's a bit easier to remember because I was a bit bigger, right?
Yes.
So that would be 1, 2, 3. So there was already 3,
And rest of the 7s were?
And then the rest of
the
lower grades, it was quite a lot, Yeah, it was quite a lot.
You must have got used to it, like getting into a class. Oh, hey, new school, here I am.
Yeah, it's if I'd known then what was going to happen in the future, and we're going to come to that, then I realized, oh, okay, so that was how it was set out for me,
Okay.
But we'll get to that later.
When you got to standard 1,
Yeah.
now standard 1,
which is grade 3.
It's a different school now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Of course, you have many different schools.
That's right.
Okay, so standard 1 until standard 5, let's take it as a big chunk of milestone.
Yeah.
Right? And a big timeline. So anything you remember, any teacher you remember in this part of time?
So the latter part of the attending lower school or primary school, I recall being at a boys' school, only boys' school.
Oh.
Yeah, so I attended a boys' school, which was a Catholic school.
Okay.
And that is, my religion.
Of course.
So I attended that school, and what we were on about were how we were excelling in the sports. So I was the captain of the soccer team.
Oh, wow.
And the beauty part is that I was scoring regularly.
Oh, amazing.
And the recognition you would get on the Monday, was fantastic.
So you were getting it almost
basically,
every Mondays.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Most Mondays.
Most Mondays.
Yeah, most Mondays. And being at the Catholic school, by the way, we had a father who was the principal
of the school.
Yeah, the priest. He was the. But strangely enough, we didn't have any priest teaching us.
Oh, okay.
So we only had the one priest.
And that was the principal?
And he actually taught me math at some time, or science at some time.
Okay.
So he was that guy who would catch us regularly hitchhiking on the corners. And if we see his car, we'd all scramble. But he'd already seen who, and then back into the office on Mondays.
Okay.
What we'd call him was, we'd term him, like the kids here would say, Mr.
Yeah. Okay.
We use the reference brother.
Brother.
So brother Timothy, brother Paul,
Okay.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
So brother watched you, saw you.
Yeah.
So he was acting like a big brother outside.
Wow. That was the weirdest part. And the only way to have gotten home was because we ate all our bus fare already. And so that was the only way, there were these cars, and where we were living, it was on the route, the route to our place of stay.
Okay.
So it was easy, and all
To
we
be caught.
to be caught, one, because it was this open stretch where we were now
hanging out.
That's right,
Yeah.
and that's where we stood to get to hike,
Yeah.
to get a lift. There was no other way we could have hidden from brother who was
But
coming
that
on
was
from the other
interesting
side.
part. Like you have eaten your bus fare.
Yeah, that's right. It was really. And if it wasn't the bus fare, the cheapest mode of transport would have been the train. And then there were no security guards to watch the barriers. So
Were you having free rides?
That's correct. So we would jump the train, as they would say. But that was a bit of a distance to walk. So the quickest way,
station.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a bit, so the quickest way would have been to get a lift from some strangers,
Was that okay in that time?
Look, we were boys, right?
Yeah.
At that time it was perfect,
You won't believe, like I did my graduation and my master's from my university in my city. My university was as far as from here to maybe, how can I say, about 75 kilometers or 100 kilometers, but we didn't have many public transport to go.
Right.
Okay. And if you have missed the university transport, then you have to get home on your own or something. Then during my master's, I used to take rides, taking hitchhiking.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And me and my friend is also broadcasting nowadays. Like he's also doing podcasting from Hyderabad. He's a professor, associate professor.
Right.
He's also doing podcasting just like I'm doing it. One of his interviews there, I interviewed him as well. So we used to hitchhike a lot, asking people, asking cars. Once I got a ride in a, army truck.
Yeah.
And they were in the university for some official work, like they wanted some degree for some officials, like that. They were going back. I got a ride in their Jeep, open Jeep, sitting with, 2-3 personnels at the back.
Yeah.
It was fun. And we were scared as well.
So it was always two of you?
Most often.
Okay.
But then I was also all on my own.
Yeah.
University life was very fun for me.
Right.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was fun. Like do you remember what was happening when the brother called you in the office on Monday?
Yeah.
What would happen afterwards?
Well, look,
normally
we would take our punishment,
What kind of punishments?
Well, those years it would be the cane.
Ah, okay.
So you'd bend over and get a couple on your buttocks,
But what was wrong going home by hitchhiking? Was it forbidden or by law or what?
I think he was pretty strict in terms of the uniform we were wearing and what it portrayed outside the school.
Okay.
So how we behaved outside determines how we behaved inside, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And I think that was the major objective of why we were not allowed to do the hitchhiking.
It was okay if you were wearing any other t-shirt and brother was passing by and looking at you?
Yes, in terms of that. But now that you've brought it up, we didn't actually click doing that. We should have.
Taking an extra t-shirt.
Exactly.
Change the t-shirt.
This is the thing,
We are new people. We are not there at school.
Yeah, that's correct. That would have been one of the solutions to us not being found in an office on a Monday morning.
Oh my God.
The principal's office.
How many times do you remember being punished for this purpose?
Quite a lot. Quite regularly. Yeah. And we knew what the consequences were.
But why couldn't he understand what's going on?
He
wanted you to understand, don't do it. But why was he not taking that he should understand, why are you doing this? It was not you only, it was a group of us.
Yeah, it was we were 4 or 5 that were normally doing these.
When 4 or 5 people doing the same thing on and on and on, even after the punishment, then there is a time to ponder, why is it happening?
Well, of course, the why part was easy because we ate our bus fare up. We spent it. That was the why part.
Yeah.
And
but did he ever question you? Why?
No, not really. You know, we grew up in a system, especially the education system, where you wouldn't question the person standing in front of a classroom.
Okay.
And so everything was just acceptable. And once again, what happened then is somehow tied into as to why I became a teacher.
Oh, we'll talk about
Yeah.
it. We'll talk about
You
it.
know, so it's strange how, you know, destiny works, how life actually works, you know. If you were this futurist that
Yeah.
could determine the future already or see what was happening,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. Football is one thing, and these hitchhiking and being caught is another thing. Any other things you remember from the school life?
Well, let's see. In terms of achievements, academic achievements, up until grade 10, just before reaching grade 10, so up until the end of grade 9, I was a really bad student in terms of academics.
Oh.
I was a very low achiever, simply because I don't think I applied myself. You know, I was more worried with kid stuff.
Ah, good.
And so books didn't really appeal to me, or schoolwork didn't appeal to me. So in terms of that, you know, there's nothing really I can cry home about. And,
Good.
you know.
So, are you do you feel guilty about it, or are you proud of it,
Absolutely.
or it's just
Am
nothing?
I proud of it? I wouldn't say I can be proud of something that I've never achieved, you know, or
And
been.
feel guilty?
Yeah, to a child, what is guilt? You know,
No, now.
you start
How
growing.
you feel it now?
Exactly why, as teachers, we shout at kids, because we don't want them to. We see ourselves in their eye, you know, in their eyes, in their situation. So we shout at them, but they don't understand it because they haven't experienced the achievements yet.
I see it differently. Like I differ on this point. Like I shout at my students to
Yeah.
do things in time and finish the task and improve everything. But at the same time, I realize that why am I shouting? I'm shouting because the school wants me to shout and get the scores higher.
Right.
Okay, and I am taking it seriously because parents
Yeah.
want it done this way. Otherwise, I'm on the student side. Like, let them have fun and learn at the same time.
So why are you shouting?
Like school and parents.
You know.
I want them to do well,
Yeah.
but I'm not after. Like, if you ask me, I don't want everybody to run for A-star grades.
No.
I want them to do best what they can do best.
Exactly.
But
But you experienced it.
Yes, but the school and parents want every child to do A-star.
Right.
When they want every child to do A-star, that is too much, right? But there are some students who are not A-star, but they are very good people. They are very good person. So I acknowledge that element as well.
Yeah.
So even like for me, if you ask me, then I'm not so worried about the students are getting lower grades. I say that you are being a good human being and you're building leadership qualities and being independent. That's worthy.
Yeah, I think
I see it differently.
Yeah, look, the aim is basically to build this holistic child.
That's the thing.
You know,
That's
to find a balance in everything he or she does.
But the system, if we call it a system, they
Yeah.
want every child to A-star.
Yeah, look, only because is that the only method of trying to say how smart a kid is by testing, by
testing,
assessments.
yeah.
You know, is there a different way
Yeah.
of making to say, look, this kid is smart, you know, unless we start changing that way of saying, let's do away
Some
with
of the
assessments.
nerds are so stupid in real life,
Yeah.
and some of the genius in real life are so low in academic life.
Look, this is the thing,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
this is the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so do you remember any teachers from your standard, like
I-
lower secondary and higher secondary?
Right. So up until grade 9, I recall the one guy, Mr. Pather, only because 3 of his sons were in my class.
In the same class? Were they same age?
But we'll get to that. Mr. Pather had 11 other sons.
Oh.
So he had a total of 11 other sons. And,
no, 11 other sons and 3.
No. He had a total of 11.
Total 11.
Or should I say
Okay.
8 other sons.
Okay.
And I think the majority of them attended St. Owen's, the boys' school.
Same school.
Yeah, the Catholic school,
Yeah.
where he was a
Yeah.
teacher at. And that's the guy I remember because of the 3
number of
sons.
sons.
But here's the thing, that the eldest of the 3 in the class failed twice.
Ah, okay.
So the other one caught up, and then
Okay.
it was that, baby catching up with the second last and then the third last, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that is how I remember this
Out of
guy.
11, 3 were
Yeah.
in the same class and they were not triplets.
Definitely not. And that is not the riddle, by the way. Yeah, so, and we were allowed, the system allowed that if you were not capable of handling that particular grade that year, you had to fail.
Okay.
So there was no...
No reset and extra promotion.
Absolutely nothing.
Undertaking promotional.
Absolutely
promotions,
nothing.
no.
So if it's
Every
a fail,
child
it's a
must
fail.
pass.
That's it.
Yeah.
Even though the scores were lenient in terms of what you had to achieve, so the lowest would have been an F.
Okay.
And once again, if you see how the codes are worked out here, you would be able to see on the coding system where F falls. So F would fall below 50%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that is how the education system back then was.
My country, like I repeated my grade 1. I failed grade 1 and repeated it.
Right,
And
because
the system failed.
the system failed you, right? Or
But my country has got F grade at 33%.
oh, is it 33 now?
33%.
Right, okay.
30 lower than 33% is a fail. So I couldn't get.
Yeah,
even
look,
33%.
those
Not
yes, yes.
50%.
Sorry,
Yeah.
upon correction, F would have been a 33% or something.
Yeah, here in Oman we see that 50%. Less than 50 is
that's
fail.
right.
Yeah.
And we see it
If
as
we
that.
still see 33%, then most of the students are passing it.
Exactly. Yes,
Most of
just
them
above
are.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
It's actually bringing the grades up, and
Yeah, that's
it's a phenomenon. It's a scam. It's not just in education. Everywhere they're just bringing up the mark and making it tougher for people.
Are they
Everything.
bringing it up or are they lowering it?
I think bringing up, like diabetic level. 10 years back, it was normal was something else. Now the normal is different.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
These marks I'm talking about.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, coming back to those 3 boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
What was so
system.
interesting? Were you friends with all 3 or one
Yeah,
of them?
you had to because they now your classmates, you see.
Okay.
And so you get the different
Okay.
insights as to each one. And they were all so different,
Okay.
They were all different, but the resemblance was like uncanny. You can just look at someone and say, you're a Pather or you a Siddiqui. Just that, because they all had that same type of, that features,
Oh, wow.
So you wouldn't find one out of
Oh.
that doesn't look like them. They were just lookalikes.
Oh my God.
It was strange.
And
yeah.
they were, of course, there was age gap between 3
No,
of them.
of course, there
Still-
was the eldest and here's the baby in my class,
Yeah,
of course.
okay.
So there's that age, whether it was 6 or 7 years, 8 years, something like that.
Still they look alike.
Yeah, from the top to the bottom.
Anything about that, their father? teacher?
Once again, Mr. Path, he was also friends with my dad, and I guess
The
that
same
is
thing?
same thing. I promise you. And I
You're
think,
punished in the class then at home?
well, fortunately, he was in my homeroom. He was the one. He was doing grade
Subject teacher.
6. I was in grade 7.
But same school must have...
Yeah, that's right. Same school, because remember we only had a class of each. You know, one
My God.
class of each grade.
My God.
So we were a pretty small boys' school. You know.
Okay. Now your in higher secondary is over,
Yeah.
and now you're going for teaching college?
I actually went for law.
Okay.
So I started my law degree after school now. In fact, before we go to the college or the university level, we took it upon ourselves, quite a lot of us took it upon ourselves that year to boycott, to stage protests, not to write our finals.
What for?
Because this was now at the height of, because of our political situation.
Okay.
So the students now came out to revolt. And when I talk about students, I talk about students in university and then the pupils or learners from school.
Okay.
All right. So the school, grade 12s or the school, the students from the school decided, listen guys, the only way we're going to try and get rid of the government at the time was to heighten and escalate our protests. And one of the escalations were the not writing, because we were sitting for exams which were not drawn up by our teachers. It was drawn up by a government, a minority government, who wanted to dominate and brainwash
and bring some political agenda in the examination.
That's right. So on a political front, things were now starting to escalate.
And this is the era of 60s, 70s?
This was the 80s now.
80s now.
Yes, 80s. This is now mid-80s.
Mid-80s.
And this particular, what we did was then brought a complete new view of, or a complete new type of tool to fighting a government which we didn't want.
Oh. Then how did it go?
So what happened was that we didn't write. Well, once again, not all of us. There were some.
Yeah, there were some who...
that actually went to write, to sit and write.
Yeah.
And they were guarded by the army. So that was their choice, and then we decided not to. And hence we had to repeat the grade, you know. And if you think about it years later, then you think about, was it the correct decision you made? You know.
What do you think?
You know, I lost one year of my life. Let's put it that way.
But it was not your decision, was it? It was a political decision by majority of the people against the minority government.
Yeah, but the choice was still yours. They gave you that choice.
But you know, peer pressure, society pressure, the community pressure where you're living in, and your neighbors and your family members, you're not too old to bear all the pressure.
No. I do agree with you. You know, but in saying that, why I regret it years later is because the same person that was sitting with you in finals wrote that year, and you found him in the second year of university, and nothing happened, you know. So there were no consequences.
Had there been like had the revolt succeeded, it might have been a different story.
Yes.
But it did not work politically. It failed actually. This protest did not work as it was supposed to be. That's why something like it did not work. Right?
No, it did.
Okay.
We were the final block. We were the final. The students of the 80s. If it wasn't for, or if it weren't for the students, I believe it would have been more
But
violent.
it is still 80s, mid 80s, and you got the
Yes.
change in 90s.
Yes, we got the change in
The
just
Nelson
after
Mandela
90s.
thing came
That's
in
right, 90. He was released in 1990.
1990.
So it's just 4 years, 5 years.
5 years.
Yes.
So
you must
So it was
remember.
building up.
That's correct.
Yeah,
We were that
okay.
final push.
Yeah.
The students were that final push because this thing was building up from the 60s already. That is when he went to prison.
Yeah.
All right. And even before then, it just really, and students weren't involved then. It was all the adults, the working class
So
people.
it was a big push from the students,
It was.
and then 5 years later,
And then
you know, on
everything
the
crumbled.
global scale,
Yeah.
global political scale, something doesn't happen like a football match. It doesn't happen every minute, every second.
No.
It takes time.
Yes.
5 years is still a very short time for such a big movement to be succeed.
That's correct.
Right. So you were the last people and last push you were doing.
Yeah, nothing happened after that. There were no...
Not so quickly.
Not so quickly to
Not
what?
so immediately happened after that. After your protest.
Yeah, there were no further protests.
Ah.
That's let's put it that way. We were the final push, and that was it. You know, you think of the Arab Spring,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that also didn't happen overnight.
It took a longer time.
That's right,
Yeah.
you know, and you can see the result. Why that brought about change was now, people now protested, they went in masse, you know. You didn't just have little
But you
groups.
know, Arab Spring failed completely in different countries. It didn't work for every Arab country.
Yeah, look.
It just worked for a couple of 2 or 3 countries in the beginning.
Right,
And then it failed in Syria.
right.
Though for Syria, like they brought in foreign army, different, you know, different
context.
invading
Yeah,
power.
look.
Even then, it did not work. The president is still there.
No, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
See?
That part failed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, but
But the awakening of the people worked very well.
yes, that's correct.
They are awakened. They are taking their roles. They are playing their roles. They are being more responsible. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is exactly what happened in South Africa. You know,
Okay.
where parents were only doing the pushing.
Yeah.
And they
other
weren't
kids.
involving
Yeah.
us. And we were the brunt of it. We were feeling it in that education system.
So, law school, then how long did you stay
Yeah,
there?
so I stayed there 3 years. I then ran out of money.
Okay.
And this is now at the age of 22, 23.
Okay.
I then packed up and then I was in between jobs.
Okay, where did you go first?
Where did I go where?
What was your first job?
So I went into travel and tourism.
Was that your first job ever?
Yeah, that
Or
was.
did you do any jobs during teaching or during your school time or
No.
law college? Did
No,
you do any jobs?
not at all.
Never,
So that was my first.
Not even tutoring?
Nothing
Not
like
even
that.
washing dad's car for money?
Nothing like that.
Okay.
You know, so at a relatively young age, I sorted myself out. You know, I wasn't reliant on any family member in terms of like money from my mother or father. I wasn't living with them. You must,
Okay,
you know. So I've built this thing around myself already.
How were you financing yourself? They were still financing you.
So I would move out. I moved out because I had
When
a
you
job.
got the first job.
Then you know, so I was never.
How did you get that job?
I can't
Somebody
even
referred
remember
you?
what was my job. Yeah.
Somebody referred you, or you were interviewed, and a couple of people were interviewed, and you were chosen.
Yeah. Look. So yes, what happened was that my parents then moved up to Namibia because my dad was in education, and up at that stage you were only allowed to retire at the age of 65.
Okay.
But Namibia was now different. They were independent now from South Africa. They used to be called Southwest Africa.
Okay.
So they were granted their independence, and they were giving your the retirement, they were at a different age.
Not 65.
That's right.
Must
at
be
a
70
much,
or 75.
No, at a much younger age, 55.
Oh, really? They reduced
Yes,
it.
they
Okay.
reduced it to
And
that.
why did your father go there for that reason?
For that reason, because now
Early
he was
retirement.
tired of. He
he
was not
wanted
tired
early
of. That's
retirements.
right. He wanted out of the system. So
So you got your first job out of interview.
by chance, I got my first job because my mom was a nurse. Is a nurse by profession, and she was looking after the little orphans at this orphanage home. And while my dad was teaching at one of the schools, the person she was working with, his husband, was the HR for an
travel
airline,
agents. Airline, okay.
which was called Air Namibia at that stage. Something similar to South African Airways,
Okay,
Gulf
okay,
Air.
okay.
Okay. So Air Namibia, Namibia had their own airline.
Yeah.
And they named it Air Namibia. And this guy, whose wife my mom was working with, said I had to come and see him. And that is how I got into the airline business.
You were directly in the airline.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Because we know certain people have their agencies, travel agencies. So it wasn't a travel agency exactly.
No.
It was an airline job.
It was an airline.
Okay.
And the travel agencies would contact us for making bookings and that. That's correct.
So you were doing the bookings?
I was in the reservation side. Actually, I was first with the freight, meaning how do you calculate if you're flying from Oman to via
Doha,
and then onto your country. So you're using 3 different airlines.
okay.
But your freight, your suitcase, is traveling to its destination.
Oh, okay.
So my job was to work out how much does each airline get to courier my suitcase.
Okay.
You see?
Oh.
And it's just like a ticket. You have different airlines you're flying on, but you pay one total. But the total needs to be divided. Each airline needs to get its portion.
Yes.
And whoever travels the longest, that is the biggest portion.
Yeah.
So how do you determine
who gets?
Yes, I was doing the freight, the freight part of it.
Ever remember doing any mistake in it?
Well, we were sent to Switzerland to do the course.
Okay.
So we were sent to Switzerland to do.
Was that your first foreign?
That was my very first time going abroad. By the way,
going abroad.
So we went to the headquarters of IATA, which is the International Airline Transportation.
Yeah.
Something similar to what you have for FIFA.
Yeah.
Which there's this controlling.
Yeah, of course they are
the controlling person.
Yeah.
So we went there to do the course and then come back. And
how long was the course?
The course was for 3 weeks, fully paid,
Good. And did you visit around the Switzerland?
No, not really, because I was more concerned with this course here because it was quite taxing.
So didn't they give you any extra 1 week to just stay?
No, look, you could have done that on the weekends.
And you didn't do that?
No, not really.
Which city were you in exactly?
We were in Geneva.
Geneva?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were in Geneva. So did the course, came back to the airline, and then I moved out from reservations into that particular division. Actually, no, that was my first.
Okay.
I then left the freight division and moved into reservations. And then I came back to South Africa to come and do the course there because South African Airways was controlling the course.
Okay.
So we were doing the South African booking system.
Okay.
So that's what we had to
How
learn.
long was it then?
3 weeks.
How long did you stay?
That was 3 weeks.
No, how long did you stay in the airline business?
I stayed for about 5 years. Yeah, it's about 5 years.
And what made you quit?
Because I now wanted to come back to South Africa.
So
Now
right
my
now
mom and dad retired.
they came to South Africa.
Then
So meanwhile you were in
I was still
Namibia.
there because I was working.
But were you living with the family or you were
No, I was already on my own.
on your own?
Yeah, that's it.
Just
So
like
I
this
was-
one?
Just like this one. So I was renting a room, right? So I was working for myself and things like that. And then
How was the
I came
experience
to,
living alone first time?
well, I gotten used to it even though I was living with family members, everything I did for myself.
Okay.
You know, so like, you know, I already built that little wall from a very young age.
A shell.
That
You were
shell,
living
yeah,
safe,
you don't
secure.
penetrate it, it's mine, you know, so I was that person.
Okay.
So, so the disadvantage there was then you would lose your childhood.
That's another kind of childhood people have. We can't say losing it, but it is another kind of childhood.
Yeah, look, we term it childhood, but yes,
Another
yeah,
kind of.
that's right. You
Right?
know,
Still
you're-
a childhood.
That's right. Look, it's toys doesn't affect me. You know, I did, you know, someone singing to me nursery rhymes and stuff like that. I wouldn't get that as a person, as another child.
You know,
growing
as
up.
we were discussing it
Yeah.
before, not everything is for everybody.
Right.
Right? Every child, every student has got different temperament, different aspects. Not nursery rhymes are not charming for everybody.
No, no, no.
No.
You know.
Toys are not charming for everybody.
No, that's right.
For example, my son, my smallest son, plays with the car, but recently I bought him 2 cars and he broke the wheel within a couple of hours of buying the car.
Maybe
right?
you
Bringing
bought
it.
a cheap car.
Yeah, I should have given him
Your car.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he's not into cars.
All right.
Like, as I see some other children who are into cars, have 10 cars and playing with the cars all
Yeah.
the time and
Yeah.
driving and moving here and there and racing with them.
Right.
He's not into it.
Right.
And that's it. It's
But you
alright.
see, he's experienced it, which now that is why I refer to as my lost childhood. I wasn't doing that. What I should have been doing with, not because I had a choice. No, if you had to
Not
give me a
because
car,
you didn't have it.
that's right. That's right.
Oh,
If you had given me a car, then I would have done it.
maybe, yeah.
You know, but because it was never brought to me.
So you never got a chance to
So
choose.
That's right.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know.
Okay, so from Namibia, you're
Yes, I
back to
came
South
back.
Africa.
That's right. So I go into a travel agent. Now I'm a fully fledged travel agent again.
Now it's 5 years over
That's right. So I'm moved away from the airline
to
to the other side now, where
Travel
the travel
agency.
agent has to phone the airline.
you're a travel agent now.
That's right, because I need a couple of seats for your flight.
Okay.
So I
So
phone your
is this
flight.
the time you're running your own business or you're
Not
still
yet. Not yet.
on job? Okay.
So I'm still working, you know, and then somehow I then moved into the tourism business where I would pick clients up and
For the
take
trips.
them for the sightseeing.
Oh, really?
And so now we're getting German visitors, British visitors.
wow.
Right, so you're dealing with a foreign visitor now, right? And so I'm thinking, but I'm getting good at this, you know?
Okay.
So I've been in the travel, the airline side.
And tourist
Now
guide.
I've been in the travel agency side of things. And remember, these 2 parts is, you know, you just bring the people in.
Yeah.
What then? So now I'm in the industry which picks the people up and start taking them where they want to.
Sightseeing.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah, good.
And I'm thinking I've had now all aspects of travel now. You
Yeah.
know, I've touched on all the aspects of travel. So what should I do? I know. I should now help people establish their own business. And now all of a sudden, tourism is taking off in Cape Town because it brings in quite a lot of money. It's one of the biggest tourist attractions because of our sightseeing things we have back home, you know, activities, you know. So we have that, and so now we're exploiting those activities.
market,
That's
yeah.
right. So what's happening now, every Tom, Dick and Harry is now wanting to do,
Open a business.
that's right, a
Yes.
tourism business.
So you started your consultancy.
That's right. So now, because Tabish wanted to open up his, he got some money to buy a vehicle, and that's all it takes,
Yeah.
a vehicle.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then contacts. And then I come in and I say to you, right, I'm going to market your business at a fee, and I'm going to put you on the map, and I'm going to tell you which things you need for your tourism business to run it,
Yeah.
you know. And that is what I was doing.
Good. And that was your own, and you were not hired anywhere.
That's right. So I would be charging people a consultancy fee.
Did you open an office for that, or you were just
No,
working
I was working from home.
from home?
Yeah, that's right. I would go into your office
Yeah.
because that's, you know.
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, hang on, Nolan, you're now flooding the market because now this guy knows that he's making money, and all of a sudden he's telling his brother, why don't you do this? Let's buy
And
a
he
vehicle.
is-
And then,
Yeah.
and it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden you're sitting with so many people that you're actually losing the quality.
Yes.
Okay, so now you've got all this quantity, you know, and
Yeah.
each one is fighting for the same thing.
Yeah.
You understand? And I said to
Saturation.
myself, hold on, you know,
Market
I've got to now
saturation.
pull back. Yeah. So my next step was now, how do I market these people? I then get somebody who's a specialist in it. And I say, right, this guys need to be put on the map, not only for local tourism, but the
International tourism.
Yeah,
Yes.
let those international companies now get hold of these guys. And how do we do that? I'm going to go to a guy who's internationally coupled
Okay.
with your market around here and there, abroad, so that when they need people, they can just directly contact these
Contact
people.
those guys.
Yeah, so that's what I then started doing. And then the fees became a bit high, and now you saw some people just fall by the wayside.
Yeah, of course, because of the price.
That's right.
How long it lasted?
I did that for a number of years, about 3 or 4 years. And now I'm in my 30s.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm in my 30s. And I'm
And
thinking...
you're making a lot of money. Have you bought your house
We've
for
bought,
so far?
yeah, we've got the house already.
You've already got the house.
And
What do you mean by we?
Glenda and Muscat.
You're already married now.
That's right.
When did you marry?
When did I get married? About 29. At the age of 29.
29.
Quite old, eh? Don't you think? Quite old.
Quite old.
Yeah, for
I
29.
got married when I was 28.
Well, you know, there's
But I
others that's
still
married now
think that I
21,
was
20.
too old.
Too old?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
What do you think? You got married in 29. Do you think
Yeah,
you were too old?
I would imagine 29 would be the right age, because if you calculate you finish high school at the age of
that
19,
thing, that
20,
thing.
you do a minimum 4-year degree, you're 23, 24.
You know, if you look at human life,
Yeah.
then academics and school and job achievements are nothing to do with marriage.
No, it's absolutely nothing. You know, so all these foundations are now built, right?
So
Except my university now,
it was
because
just
I gave up. Remember?
yeah, your law degree.
Yeah, I gave up my law degree, and so I don't have any degree behind my name. You know, except now for a matric certificate, a grade 12,
Yeah.
which is now becoming irrelevant now. You know, those years it was.
Were you
okay.
ever told by somebody for this, or you were feeling inside?
Failing?
Was you were feeling the guilt inside, or were you brought to the guilt by somebody?
You must remember that when
Like, I mean that some opportunities were closed to you because of your degree or your education.
Here I was. That
You were already
I had
doing
the ability to
successfully.
do at university. I was already doing well. I was now achieving as a top student.
Yeah.
I was recognized as a very low achiever when I was at school.
School, yeah.
Primary into the.
And then in university,
and-
you were one of the top.
It somehow when I went to grade 10 that I did a history test on one of the papers and I got 49 out of 50. My first ever score. I was getting here 1 out of 100. 101, 11 out of 120 for science, for math,
Yeah.
and, back in the days, and all of a sudden I'm a grade 10, and I'm thinking,
49 out of 50.
and I'm
my
thinking,
God.
where the hell did I get
Yeah.
that mark from?
Exactly.
And that spark. And after that, I would run home from school. I'd run home, and I would go and study.
Oh, good.
You know.
It was the first time you realized.
Sundays, I was like this child in a candy shop. I didn't know how much and where I could start. And that was me. I sat day in, day out with books.
But could you study?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. So I had now all of a sudden, I'm number one in the school in terms of achievement.
Wow.
In terms of getting the highest in this subject, and the highest in that subject. And I'm thinking, oh, okay.
Okay. You got your house, you got your wife. How about your kid?
Yeah.
When was she born?
She was born a couple of years later, 2 or 3 years later, yeah. That's right.
And by the age of 30, you are thinking of changing the job for
I've decided now it's time for me now to go to university.
University.
That's right. And so I'm doing this, what they call geographical information systems.
Okay.
Where,
And where is it? Where are you doing it?
At the university, at our local university back home. So I'm going into remote sensing, meaning I would one day wanted to become an environmentalist. Right. So that is where I was concentrating, what I was going into. So what I would be doing is to draw up maps if you want a train line through the mountain pass.
Okay.
I would come with my plane and take pics of the local landscape.
Yes.
I would look at these pictures and then plot out the best
Route.
Yeah, that's right, without damaging the environment.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so that
How
is...
far did you go in this
So
degree?
I'm now in my 4th year, right, and all of a sudden I finish my undergrad degree,
Okay.
and I don't know what I'm going to do the next year. And I'm thinking, oh, this is not good. What am I going to do the next year? Because it means I'd have to keep on studying, and I still don't have a degree. I have a degree,
But
which
it's
was a
not-
Bachelor of Arts degree, which is basically a generic degree
Yeah.
made up of different
Subjects, yeah.
just to fulfill the requirements of the
Yes.
credits, right?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, oh, goodness.
You're
Now
still
what?
not
So
specialized.
what I'm hearing through the grapevine here,
Yeah.
run to that department. I say, which department? The education department. They're giving away bursaries. And I'm thinking, oh, bursaries? I'm a student, yeah. Education department. I get there. They say, right, what did you do? I signed up. I said, right, what am I going to major in now? Social studies
Okay.
and business. Business studies and social studies.
Okay.
Look, I'm an English teacher, nowhere near to that degree. So now I'm a qualified teacher.
Oh, good. This is called PGCE?
That's correct.
Okay.
So the following year, I was teaching
PGCE or PG?
postgrad certificate in education.
Education.
And it's been changed again to postgrad.
Different names and,
yeah. It was called an HDE, meaning higher diploma in education.
Yeah,
Then it was called
different
a
names,
postgrad.
yeah.
But it's
So you
basically the
finished
same
it.
thing.
You took how long time?
So you take a 1 year.
And you're doing it, meanwhile you are still in the, travel business.
No, I'm still in the full-time. No, I've given up now. And now I'm
Okay.
a full-time student at university. So I'm tutoring now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm part of the tutoring team. And so finished that. And then the following year I started teaching.
Okay, just take a pause. Your travel agency business was doing fine.
Yeah.
You're getting international clients, and you were the middleman between connecting them with the local people.
That's it.
Your fees were higher,
Yeah.
and you were making good money. You bought a house, you married, and you gave up that business.
Yeah. because that's not what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you get any, like your wife was telling you, what are you doing? Don't do it. Or your friends were advising you, don't do this. You're already settled. You're doing fine. Anything?
Yeah, of course you would get those kickbacks,
Backlashes,
backlash of people telling you you're mad and things like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I want to sit on my rocking chair knowing that I did it. You know, there's a nurse in Australia, by the way, who looks after people who are now dying. They've got they've got 2 weeks to live, basically.
Okay.
And what she's done was they did research on the people that she was looking after. And one of the questions was that, what do these people actually keep telling you? What she said was that the biggest regret was not doing what they wanted to.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So, and this nurse is still alive, by the way, out in Australia.
Wow.
She's still doing the same thing, you know, looking after the people dying the 2 weeks. Yeah. You
So
know.
you picked it up and you wanted to do.
So ever since, you know, I always told myself, I only read on it now recently, but it was always in my mind to do it. You know, I had the ability to do it.
So you became a teacher, and what did you start
at
teaching?
the age of 36.
36.
That's right. You know.
Now your girl is already 3 years old.
Yeah, that's
4
right.
years old.
So they are growing up, and I'm now 4 years. I redid a degree, you know, from the first year, sitting with 18-year-olds, 19, 20-year-olds. Yeah, I'm 36, you know. So, well, 32 actually. I finished at 36.
36. So you are a teacher now. What subject are you teaching?
So I'm teaching now English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
For the first
because
time.
that was the position that was advertised.
Available.
And that was only by default, also because a friend of mine was the principal of the school. And he was looking for an English teacher.
Okay.
And for 6 months, I taught.
taught.
Yeah. And then while I was teaching, I was also doing another degree. You know, I was doing it full time, which allowed us to be 4 o'clock at university. School finished 3, we there 4.
Yeah. Right.
So
what degree it
6
was?
months. That was an honors degree. We needed this to go into our masters. You cannot just, you know,
cannot just
rest of the world, you finish your undergrad, you go directly
master,
into
but you
masters.
have to do honors.
That's right. This takes another year or 2 if you're doing it part-time.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm 6 months into that degree.
And after that?
All of a sudden I get this call from abroad, you know.
Taiwan?
And I took the position after 6 months of teaching in
It was
South
the first
Africa.
time you're leaving your family back?
That's right.
Your,
That's the very first
your
time.
wife and your kid?
Yeah.
You have only one kid?
That's right. Okay. We've only got the one. And after that and then I started traveling, living in Taiwan, traveling.
You stayed there in Taiwan for?
I stayed in Taiwan for about 8 years.
8 years is a big time.
8 years.
You stayed at one job place or switched the place?
No, we switched places. Started out at a private school for 2 years. Then I went into different types of little schools that Taiwan has, all scattered around the island. And then into a public school once again. And
8 years is a big time.
yeah, it was a long time, man.
So 8 years, and what was your first impression of Taiwan? You are coming out of South Africa for the second time after Switzerland, right?
Yeah,
Switzerland is part of Europe. Taiwan is far east.
that's right.
You're part of Africa.
That's it.
So what was your impression?
You know, I kind of had an idea because remember my background was travel.
Yeah, travel agency, people coming.
Yeah.
Different.
So I saw myself in the country that I was selling.
Before, yeah.
You've never been there, I've never been there, but I had more knowledge about it.
And you have seen people, and of course you were interacting with them.
That's it.
And sailing them your country.
That's correct.
Sites.
That's right.
Yeah, to come and see. Yeah.
So that also had a bearing, an influence of me going, you know, not knowing that it was going to lead up to that.
How was the food? Was the food challenge?
Well, that
in
was
Taiwan?
especially the smells. You know, it's it's a weird smell that you have to get used to. I say weird because of the type of cooking that's coming through.
Yeah, you
And
were not
eating
used to
your
of it.
senses here. Exactly, you know. There are certain foods that
And again, you're living alone.
Once
and,
again, that's right, you know.
So, hostels or flats?
No, I would get my own apartment and things like that.
Do you remember
Because
any
we were
colleagues?
well paid.
Do you remember any colleagues? From
I
Taiwan?
actually met some from Cape Town
Oh.
that I taught with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make a community there in Taiwan, South African community?
There wasn't a community, but there were quite a number of people congregating from one country in that
was South
particular
Africa. Okay.
particular area. You know.
And you were meeting up with them?
Yeah, that's
hanging out.
right.
Do you remember any of one of them? Any people?
I actually still do.
Yeah,
I'm
you are still
in
in
touch
contact with them.
Yeah, because some of them are still out in the Middle East now, and the others are back home. So yeah, that was.
Any Taiwanese people you remember?
I
Any
still
friend?
have. Yeah, I do.
Any friend you
I
made?
actually do. I still have one or two on Facebook that I liaise
Did
with.
you have any cultural setback or incident because of the culture in Taiwan that you couldn't understand what it was there? 8 years is a big eventful time, right?
Yeah, look, it's a cultural experience or a new cultural experience can have its drawbacks because, you know, you are used to your beliefs, which was engraved by the culture you were bringing, that you were growing in or up in or from. And that kind of has an influence on the way you think and the way you view things.
And what happened?
And
like,
the language, you know.
Yeah.
So
did you learn language? Did you learn Taiwanese?
because I was teaching English,
Yeah.
I wasn't really concentrating on Mandarin.
okay.
But yes, I can get along, you know.
What is their language called?
Mandarin.
Mandarin, not Taiwanese.
No, not Taiwanese.
Is it the same Mandarin like Chinese?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You know, they refer to as mainland China.
Yeah.
There are
So
that
Mandarin
subtle
is
differences.
same as Chinese.
Chinese is Mandarin.
We were talking about it
Yeah, we
yesterday.
don't get a language called Chinese. We get
There's
a
no
language
language
called
in
Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah. So, but you know, the Taiwanese, there is a Taiwanese language.
There is one.
There is one, which now the Taiwanese, of course, would talk.
Yeah.
But the Mandarin is, it's like your Middle Eastern countries.
Everybody
They all have a
understand it,
different
yeah.
dialect to
But
it.
everybody understands everybody
Totally,
else.
that's
Yeah.
right. You might miss one or two
So after
words.
8 years, you moved back to South Africa, or you went?
Yeah, where did I go to? I then came to Yemen.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I taught.
Before the revolt.
That's right.
Are you one of the agents of the revolt?
Nah.
No.
2013,
Okay.
I landed in Yemen, just, you know, for a few months. Came to write up a curriculum for one of the schools that was starting.
And that was the time the
Yes, things
uprising-
started getting a bit heated,
Yeah,
you
out
know.
of hand,
That's
yeah.
right. No guns were fired yet,
Okay.
but that movement was growing.
Yeah, and you were feeling the heat.
I wasn't feeling it because I was isolated from it.
But
I
the
wasn't
people were
sure,
feeling
but
it.
people were feeling
And
it.
they alarmed you.
And they were talking about it, you know. So I got out, you know, out of there, not because of the war, but because I finished up the contract.
the project,
Yeah,
the
that's-
contract. Okay. And then you went home?
And then I went home
And you stayed
for a
there
year
for
and a half.
for a year.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I was teaching. Then I taught back at home again.
Okay.
You know, once again, that was a complete culture shock.
Back in home, a culture shock.
Yeah,
Because
that
country has changed a lot in your absence.
completely,
8 years in
Yeah,
Taiwan, a
that's
year
it.
in, almost a year in Yemen,
totally.
9 years almost,
Totally.
and your country's changed.
Everything just, it was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen, you know. And yeah,
So the change was positive or negative? What do you think generally? Or it was just a change?
It was a change, yeah. Whether it
You
was
can't name it
positive or
as
negative,
positive or negative entirely.
You know, positive because
They were positives and negatives at
yeah,
the same
of
time.
course, you know,
And this is also political change?
political change.
And
The
it
whole
changed the...
educational landscape changed.
Uh-huh.
You know, we had two different sets of people within one school, meaning your grades were now divided. Your foundation people
Okay.
and your primary people within a primary school.
Okay. Oh my
know.
God.
So that I had to get used to because now there were two curriculums for it.
And you stayed there for how long?
A year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And then you
then
got a call.
Then I got a call to Qatar.
Okay.
So
And you stayed in Qatar for?
I stayed in Qatar for 1 year.
You left because of
I
World
left
Cup?
because
FIFA coming up?
no, they were still busy building the
Building it at that time, yes.
They were building the stadiums. So the foundations were being laid already, and then
How was your experience? It was your second Arab country
yeah, that's
after Yemen.
Yeah.
But Yemen, you were not interacting with the students. You were doing the curriculum thing.
That's right.
Office job, rather.
No, I was also teaching it.
Also teaching.
Yeah, so I see where the trial and errors are
Okay.
and come back and say, right, this is not working.
How was Qatar?
It was most amazing. I landed up at one of the schools that were owned by the former First Lady,
Okay.
Doha
Okay.
Academy, huge. So their school was divided into two, an exact mirror image. What you found in the girls' school, you found in the boys' school.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so if the toilet was situated on that side, that is where you'd find the toilet on the boys' side. You know,
Okay.
it was a complete
wow.
mirror
Mirror
image.
image, okay.
That's right. Just your teachers differed. I taught on the girls' side, and my colleagues were teaching on the boys' side. We were living in this compound, so the accommodation was given.
Oh, good. Was it good?
It was fantastic. I loved it because they had the gym right there. So there was no need for me to have traveled or bought a car or anything.
Good.
All we had to do was pay utilities, our internet, and if we wanted satellite TV, that's it. Only those two things. The rest was your money.
Oh, good.
It was fantastic. School paid for the accommodation, huge rooms. And
What made you leave the place?
now I've started getting tired of traveling.
You wanted to settle down
Yeah,
somewhere.
look, now I started to, we were living here and then living there. And so now, all of a sudden, no more traveling. We're tired of traveling, that's it. 2016, end of 2016. So, 17, 18, 19, 20, 4
You
years.
stayed at home.
That's right.
You did teaching jobs.
Two teaching jobs.
You did not go back to the traveling agencies.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
No. Yeah.
And you stayed at home, and this is the time your daughter is grown up.
That's right. So she's in Belgium and she's doing her PhD.
PhD.
Yeah.
She's doing her PhD now, but not at that time.
Not at that time.
She was with you.
She was back in South Africa. She finishing her masters. Yeah.
Okay.
So now she's busy with a PhD.
Okay.
Which is coming to an end in the next few months.
Good.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw her?
What now? August.
In August.
Yeah.
She was traveling.
That's right. And she's getting married, by the way.
Oh,
in
good.
December. So she met a professor, a guy that's now a professor.
So you're holding a marriage ceremony?
They'll be coming to Cape Town. They'll be holding one in Belgium and then
Good.
the other one in Cape Town.
So it's happening in this winter break.
That's right.
So you're going.
That is it.
Okay, amazing. That's amazing. So you came here in
October last year.
Last year was 2021. So
then up until 21 of February, I then started a master's degree, which I then finished in October of 2021 of the same year. In fact, earlier. But now I'm revisiting the sections, and it's already the end of 2022. And
No. Like you wanted to stay home, and you stayed home for 3.5 years or 4 years.
I was working. When I say stayed home, I mean in South Africa.
In South Africa.
Not staying home.
Not staying home, of course, of course. So you left Qatar for 4 years.
Yeah.
You stayed. And what made you make a decision to come to Oman then?
My decision was I gave up my teaching position, trying to finish up what I wanted to full time.
Yeah.
And somehow it was now nearing the completion of my degree, so I needed to get back to it. And I don't know, I was scrolling one Sunday evening on Facebook, and I saw this ad, and I just thought, let me apply and see what happens out, And lo and behold, the next day I was contacted. Lo and behold, I started packing my bags the following day, 48 hours later, and 72, 96 hours later, I was...
How was your family feedback about it? Like, where are you going? What happened?
Exactly, Yeah.
You were okay here. You're doing fine. What?
And yeah, here I am.
Here you are. It's been almost 14 months as you counted.
Yeah, this particular journey, if I compare it to the other journeys when I was traveling and working abroad, this was one of the most eye-opening journeys. I learned a lot. In fact, this is a journey that taught me quite more than those journeys that I was on. Yes. So somehow I was meant to take this particular journey.
Okay.
Somehow the stars were aligned and said, right, this is it. This is where you have to. Because up until January of 2022, this year, I was given a position to start at a school, a brand new school, a much higher position than what I'm doing currently, and somehow I'm here. So call it fate, I don't know, but this is,
of course, so many factors.
This was set out for me, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are you're here for 14 months. You have learned a lot. And do you want him to bring it?
You can just close the door, it's fine.
Close the door.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you got this strange surgery.
Yeah.
How was it? What happened?
Somehow I just got off I got off the flu, and this was mid-June. I think that phone is going to make a noise. I think rather bring it here, I'll just...
We were talking about the flight mode.
Yeah, that's it. We were talking about the flight mode. If I don't stop this, it's never going to stop. Let me just...
Try the flight mode. We are in the closing now.
Yeah, so what happened was that I just got off the flu, and I didn't fully recover. And the next minute I started, one side of my face started swelling. I then visited the doctors. They couldn't find any problem. They referred me to this one, to that one. Eventually I ended up at a specialist, touch wood. So, and
they recommended surgery. Then you were not getting the appointments, right place, right?
Yeah, that's right. I ended up having to visit 5 different hospitals.
It was the time that Kenny was driving you around.
That's correct. It was quite a stressful time, because you can imagine my family.
And you couldn't make
home.
a decision to travel back with that.
That is, that was one of the questions that did arise. I said to the doctor, can I go? Can I leave?
He says,
look, I don't think you should be traveling. Rather just have the surgery, immediate surgery, and see. Well, everything went off well. Stayed in hospital for 6 days, but it was the first time that I was 6 days in hospital.
Ever.
Ever. back home, on any other journey, other country.
Never.
Never, never.
How was that time?
It was like scary. It was really scary, you know. More so for Glenda than myself. You know, because
This is the time that I should apologize on record,
yeah.
not visiting you in the hospital at that time. There was something eventful happening in my family at the same time, and I couldn't just leave
Yeah,
and
that's it.
visit you. But I was trying my best to be in touch with you and asking Kenny and praying for you at the same time. Not just me, my family was praying for you.
Yeah. Look, I have to admit that there was no need for anybody to come and see me in terms
But
because
I
there was no.
I feel the guilt. I feel the guilt.
Yeah, I'm so glad he does.
Yeah.
He's always getting that school. Yeah.
Okay, last things. What do you think of like 14 months? What's the Omani culture and your feedback? And the National Day, you were wearing the Omani dress. The
Yeah,
Zashan
that
Kama.
was like.
And Masar, I couldn't recognize you.
That
This
was
is
like
Mr.
crazy, yeah. I did, a lot of people couldn't recognize me.
my God.
They had to look twice. You
I
know.
was looking for you, and I looked into Kenny's room. One Omani guy was
Yeah.
standing with Mr. Kenny. I just passed
Yeah.
by. Then I heard the voice. I returned.
Right.
Oh, is this Mr. Nolan?
You know, so that was like pretty crazy in terms of people not recognizing me because it wasn't only you. It was, you know, there were a couple of others that that didn't recognize me. But yeah, coming back to your question about the 14 months of staying here and
the culture.
yeah, it was one of the most, like I said, eye-opening. I love this life. It's simple, and not only is it simple, it appeals to me because of the quietness and things, the simplistic way, and the tolerance of people.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that is appealing to me. But of course, you know, I want to get home because I miss so much stuff.
Of course, home is home. There is no other place equal or similar or close to the home.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. This is your third Muslim country. What do you think of being a Catholic, interacting and living with the Muslim community? Since Muslims, there is a Islamic phobia thing, okay, globally. And after 9/11, there was a big campaign against the Muslim, against Islam. What's your first-hand experience living in 3 Muslim countries and staying here and being with the people?
Yeah. You know, Tabish,
Sorry.
he does want me to answer. Yeah. Anyway,
No, if you want to skip, I don't mind.
no. This is the part where the whole adaptation takes place, you know, because of my travel experience and relating to other people's experiences, cultural experiences. So for me to have adapted there and for me to have loved traveling, I had to do something in terms of acceptance, in terms of
course.
you know, so whether you put me in a Muslim situation or a Western
adapt.
culture where, yes,
Yeah, you will adapt.
you know, so, and where there are sticky things, sticky points to talk about, I try and avoid,
Of course.
you know. So I don't really get to speak my views on
Yeah.
religion and politics
No,
and that.
of
So I
course.
leave that for the locals of their
Yeah.
country,
Yeah.
you know, because
But do you find any difference of a good man, either he is Muslim or Catholic? A good man is a good man.
yeah, irrespective, you know,
Irrespective.
yeah, my education upbringing, my research, my tolerance for things, my different viewpoints on things, teaches me to
Yeah.
look at all of these things.
All of these aspects.
Exactly, you know, and I think who I am and what I believe in, or the way I see myself, you know, if I accept myself at these things, I then accept my fellow person,
Yeah.
whether he's not like me or,
Okay.
you know.
Before we wind up, final
Yeah.
words for your family. You want to speak about your mom and dad. Any other sibling you had?
Yeah, I actually have two other brothers. They one
Step
is
brothers, real
yeah,
brothers?
step brothers,
Okay.
brothers. So the one is in travel and tourism,
Oh,
and the other one does the consultancy on insurance and things
okay.
like that.
Okay.
So they are back home. I'm the eldest, by the way.
And your mom is a nurse, is still working?
She's actually now eventually,
Of course.
and she's crying out that she can't sit at home, and she's 72 years old. She wants to go and work. But you know, nurses do have that longevity about them. You know, there's
Yeah, wow.
so yeah, you know.
And your father?
No, he's passed on. So that was my stepdad.
That was the teacher?
Stepdad, yeah.
Stepdad was the teacher?
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your real dad?
He passed on many, many years ago.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, you know, I've been there. I've seen things that some people can only dream of. You know, traveling, working, with different people. You know, and I think it's now coming to an end. You know.
How did you meet your wife? Where did you meet her?
Sure. I met her in a disco.
Not as a wife, okay?
I met her in a disco. You know, I just went up to her and I started speaking to her.
Okay.
And we were dancing funny. And I
Okay.
said, you mustn't dance like this. And then we were doing this pizza dance and all this funny, making a pizza, you know, movements. And I didn't actually worry about it. You know, I then called her the next week to say, listen, let's go have lunch. And ever since, that was it.
And you got married?
Yeah, it's...
Who proposed?
That's,
Did you?
yeah, I did.
did.
Yeah.
It was accepted
That's it.
very quickly?
It
Or
was...
she said, no, give me
us,
time.
It took us 7 years, by the way.
7 years to
Yeah.
decide to marry?
Yeah.
You married in 29, so you've been dating for 7 years before.
We dated 7 years.
Oh, good. Good luck. Good time.
You know.
How's the married life? Enjoying
Well,
it?
of course, you know, you can...
It was her call.
You married, right?
It was her
Yeah,
call.
it was her call. And the message read, where are you? You know, you can imagine, you can just imagine.
Okay, before we close, like we were
Yeah.
recalling people in our lives, any remarkable role any friend played in your life, any teacher played in your life that you can acknowledge right now? Like, this is the man who gave me one big boost or something. Any friend?
Not really, no. Because if I see myself to what I see, what we were back then, and I'm relating to friends, I see that there was nothing from their side. You know, it's like I've uplifted, upskilled myself, and they still with that same.
So which one do you regret the most? Like,
you know.
he should have joined me, he should have been with me.
This is the thing. I didn't really have a friend that you would go cry on.
Okay.
You know, and talk to them about your.
Any uncle, aunt, or
life.
teacher?
Nothing at all. Yeah, nothing
it's
at
the
all.
shallow speaking.
The person that I got close to in this 14 months is this guy.
Oh my God.
You know, we have disagreements to agree. Really, you know,
fight a lot. We fight a lot.
quite a lot.
And the other minute we are laughing at the same time.
This is it. You know, we probably angry with each other for maybe half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most. But we don't take it home with us.
Yeah.
You know.
We have a good chemistry. We have fun a lot.
Yeah.
That we can't even record and telecast.
Exactly. And it's not because I want to be close to, or because I work with him and I'm, you know, pretending to be his friend. No, it's not that. It's just something that, you know, we see things differently, but yet we also see things.
Yeah. The most interesting thing was when he joined the school, it was almost 2 months that the school had already started, and then you joined. And you won't believe, like, being a newcomer myself, it was my second year.
Right.
Second academic year starting. I was still feeling uncomfortable being new,
Yeah.
right? Hesitation and everything. And I found you joining it, and you were so comfortable, so relaxed, so, bubbly all the time, all the way. I was surprised to see you. Oh, Nolan. And within 1 week, I felt that I know you for months or years. And that's your personality. Like, you come closer very quickly and open up. Though we are not so opened up with each other, but
Yeah.
I can see that there is a comfort zone with you when I'm talking to you or discussing things with you. That's Mr. Nolan.
Yeah, look, I feel the same. There's that comfort zone. Let's put it that way. That is the word I was looking for. And it's not easy just to feel though so comfortable because you're looking at new things, with old eyes,
Yeah.
and you're meeting new people with different personalities, different characteristics to you, and somehow you need to work with these people.
Yes.
And it doesn't always work out like that. But with Tabish, it's just, I don't know, it's just most amazing. I don't know if it's his accent that gets to me or, or it's the food.
Food!
Yeah,
Even yesterday in the meeting, my food was called down. Mr. Barney said that we are going to have a party before we go for winter, and we'll contact Mr. Tabish sitting here.
Oh, Mr. Tabish, extraordinary.
This is the second head of secondary who's acknowledging my food and party thing.
That's the guy.
Nice talking to you, Mr. Nolan.
Yeah, thank you.
But
Mr.
I must say
Tabish.
that this is not the last time.
No. I think we should
This is
have
the
it more.
beginning.
Yeah, I had my reservations about these talks, but
Yeah.
it just makes me feel comfortable now,
Yes.
and I can express what I
Yeah.
wanted to say.
Yeah. We'll be like
Thanks a lot.
I'm planning something.
Right.
I need your help in planning as well.
Yeah.
Something to start with different topics,
Right.
and then having discussion on those topics.
Exactly.
Some
That would be awesome.
Intellectual sort of discussion.
Yeah.
Not philosophical, intellectual. only.
That's it.
Logical and intellectual.
Yeah, true, eh? Not something that we want to debate about and things and get our
Nice talking.
tongues tied in a knot.
Wonderful,
Yeah, thank
wonderful.
you so much. Thanks
And
for
thank you for
everything.
the breakfast. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
that was great. Once again, food. Yeah.
Please.